It's 3 a.m. You're staring at the ceiling. Your phone is face down beside you because you promised yourself you wouldn't check it. Your mind is doing that thing again, replaying a conversation from 6 years ago that nobody else remembers. You feel broken. You feel like something is wrong with you. But the real answer is far stranger than that. For most of human history, waking up in the middle of the night wasn't a disorder. It was Tuesday. Historian A. Roger Ekirch spent over a decade digging through diaries, court records, and medical texts from pre-industrial Europe. What he found didn't just surprise him, it rewrote what we thought we knew about a basic human function. Again and again, ordinary people described two distinct sleeps in a single night. A first sleep beginning shortly after dusk. Then, somewhere around midnight, a period of quiet wakefulness. Then a second sleep, carrying them through until dawn. They had a name for that middle window. They called it the watch. During the watch, people didn't panic. They didn't reach for a screen that didn't exist yet. They prayed. They talked quietly with a partner in the dark. Some got up and tended the fire. Some had sex. Some simply lay there, thinking, the way you do at 3 a.m., except without the shame attached to it. Ekirch found references to this pattern in hundreds of documents, spanning centuries across multiple countries. It wasn't an anomaly, it was the default.
So what changed? In the 1990s, psychiatrist Thomas Ware ran an experiment that felt almost cruel in its simplicity. He took a group of volunteers and put them in near total darkness for 14 hours a day, mimicking the long nights of a pre-industrial winter, with no artificial light to interfere. No screens, no street lamps bleeding through the curtains, nothing. Within a few weeks, something remarkable happened. Without being told to, without any instruction at all, the volunteers' sleep split in two. A few hours of sleep, then an hour or two of calm, alert wakefulness in the middle of the night, then a second block of sleep. The exact pattern Ekirch had found buried in centuries-old diaries reappeared, unprompted, in a modern lab. Your body still remembers how to do this. It's just never given the chance. Because somewhere around the 1800s, something arrived that changed everything. Artificial light. Gas lamps, then electric bulbs, pushed the darkness back. Nightlife extended, bedtimes got later, and the long, dark, uninterrupted stretch that used to hold 2 sleeps and a watch in between got compressed into a single demanding block. 8 hours, all at once, no interruptions allowed. If you wake up in the middle of that block now, modern medicine doesn't call it the watch, it calls it insomnia. But your ancestors weren't only splitting their sleep because of the dark. Anthropologist Carol Worthman spent years studying sleep in small-scale societies where electricity had never arrived, groups like the Ife of the Congo rainforest. What she found was chaos, at least by modern standards. People slept in short bursts, they slept near a fire, near other bodies, near the sounds of the group. Someone was almost always stirring. Someone was almost always half awake, half alert.
Why would evolution favor something that looks, on paper, like broken sleep? Because unbroken sleep is a luxury, and for most of human history, it was a dangerous one. If every member of a group fell into deep, uninterrupted sleep at the same time, nobody was listening for the sound of a predator moving through the brush. Nobody was watching the fire in case it died down. A group that slept in staggered shifts, some drifting off while others stirred, had a built-in security system. Fragmented sleep wasn't a bug. It was a survival strategy, quietly running in the background of your biology long before anyone understood why. In 2015, sleep researcher Jerome Siegel took this question straight to the source. He and his team studied 3 modern hunter-gatherer groups that still live largely without artificial light: the Hadza of Tanzania, the San of Namibia, and the Tsimane of Bolivia. He expected, like most people would, that these groups probably slept longer than people in industrialized nations, closer to nature, closer to some imagined ancestral ideal.
he was wrong. They slept on average around 6.5 hours a night, not more than modern humans, sometimes less. But their sleep had a rhythm that most people in wealthy nations have completely lost. They woke naturally with a temperature drop before dawn, and they almost never described anything resembling insomnia. The complaint barely existed in their vocabulary.
What are they doing differently? They aren't fighting their body's signals. They aren't lying in bed at 3 a.m., checking the time, calculating how many hours of sleep they have left, watching the number shrink with rising panic. That number, that ticking countdown, is a distinctly modern invention. Your ancestors didn't own a clock that glowed in the dark, telling them exactly how much they were losing. The anxiety about sleep may be doing more damage than the interrupted sleep itself. Think about the last time you woke up at 3 a.m. What was the first thing your mind did? It probably didn't drift into the watch. It probably reached for dread. A quiet, creeping thought that something was wrong with you, that you were failing at something every other adult seemed to manage effortlessly. But you weren't failing. You were remembering. Your nervous system was reaching back for a pattern laid down over hundreds of thousands of years, a pattern where waking in darkness was normal, where a quiet hour of thought was expected, where the fire needed tending and someone had to be awake to tend it. The tragedy isn't that your sleep breaks in the middle of the night. The tragedy is that you've been taught to be afraid of something your entire species was built to do.
There's something almost tender about this, once you sit with it. Somewhere in a small hut in the Congo or a firelit camp on the savannah centuries ago, someone else woke in the exact same dark hour that you just did. They didn't reach for their phone, because there was no phone to reach for. They just lay there, in that same strange, quiet, half-awake place your mind visits tonight. Maybe they thought about someone they'd lost. Maybe they thought about someone they hadn't told they loved yet. Maybe they just listened to the fire. You are not broken at 3 a.m. You are ancient. So tonight, when you wake up in the dark and your mind starts doing that thing it does, replaying, wandering, worrying, maybe don't reach for the phone right away. Maybe just lie there for a moment first. Let it be the watch, not the failure. Your ancestors kept this hour for a reason. Somewhere behind every uninterrupted 8-hour promise, a much older rhythm is still quietly running, waiting for you to stop being afraid of it. It's 3 a.m. You're staring at the ceiling. And for the first time, maybe that's exactly where you're supposed to be. Hi! Comment below. Do you wake up at night? And if you do, what are your thoughts? Also, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. Sleep well.